There's
But you know,
nothing
it's
wrong.
even funny just to show like how the cinema at the time had like fucking changed by the 1970s, especially in Japan.
Hmm.
You look at like how Godzilla versus Megalon is shot and how the monsters move versus something from like Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster
Yeah.
or Mothra versus Godzilla.
How much stock did Megalon use? I forget.
Oh, a lot.
It used a
A
lot,
lot.
yeah.
However, I think the stock footage in Godzilla vs Megalon is nowhere near as distracting as it is in Gigan. In
I agree with
Gigan,
you.
I think the
I
stock
agree with
footage
you
is so
100%.
much worse, even though technically there's less.
That actually made Gigan hard for me to watch.
Yeah,
It's
it
just like
does. It really does.
it's
Yeah.
not well cut.
Even when I was a kid, because Gigan was one of the last movies I saw in the heyday when I was a kid. One of the last of the Godzilla movies, and I was like, I've seen this before.
You know what's funny about that is that for me, it's Gigan was like because we had a ton of Godzilla movies, like whether they were on actual official VHS tapes, recordings from like TV. Gigan was one my dad never wanted me to watch because I think there's like a lot of blood in it at
There's a
some
lot of
point.
blood in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at some point, and that was like the one he was like, "I don't want you to watch this one." A little
Which is
scared.
funny because the
Yeah.
reason why Teruyushi Nakano put blood in there was because kids were coming up to him being like, "Why doesn't Godzilla bleed?" And I'll
Is
tell you
that
the real reason why is
is that the one where
because
I'm sorry to keep cutting you
the
off.
real reason why is because Eiichi Tsuburaya, the original special effects director, hated
Yeah.
bloodshed in his movies.
Okay.
Um, Teruyushi Nakano, his protege, on the other hand, was like, "No, fucking blood this shit up."
Was Godzilla vs. Gigan? That was the one where like the plot was they're making an amusement park based on Godzilla or something, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. It's here's the thing with Godzilla versus Gigan. One, I think it's one of the most beautifully shot Godzilla battle scenes ever.
It's got some good shots in it. I'll give
It's
it that.
the
Some new
refinery
stuff.
battle in
Yeah.
particular. I'm like, Jesus, this is gorgeous,
Yeah.
and it's just brilliantly staged. And on top of that, if you take out everything else, if you really sort of sit down and read the story on paper, it's disturbing as fuck. I mean, you're talking about aliens that are like stealing dead bodies and then putting themselves into the dead bodies, and then the whole idea of peace for them, but not peace for other people,
Yeah.
or not peace for us, and so on and so forth. And what happens to the planet on paper, it's really disturbing, but in execution, it's just downright silly.
Well, while we're talking about Gigan, Adam, I'm just curious. Do you prefer Showa Gigan or Final Wars Gigan?
Showa,
I like Showa Gigan a little more too.
yeah, Showa
I love
Gigan way
Final Wars
more.
Gigan. He's just fucking cool as shit. But like, I don't know. There's something about Showa Gigan that's just so simple.
Well,
And I'm like,
I think he's too over the top
well, it's
in
also
Final
Final
Wars,
Wars. It's fine.
especially when he got the saws
Yeah, yeah,
for hands, and I'm
yeah,
like, no, that's a little too much.
yeah. To be fair, that's Final Wars.
Yeah, Trevor, the first time Godzilla drew blood was in Godzilla versus Gigan, and then of course we have Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla,
Yeah.
where he gets
You know,
fucking.
I would watch that one. That one I would watch. That
Well,
one I would
well,
okay.
it's a double feature because I love 70s era Godzilla
Yeah,
for some reason. Not just because I think those movies are the most fun, but also because I think those are the movies that were on the Sci-Fi Channel all the time.
yeah, yeah.
And Godzilla versus Hedorah and Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla are like the greatest Showa era double feature for me.
I love Mechagodzilla. That's probably my favorite Showa era movie. I really like that movie. I think it's fun. I think the
Leslie
action's
Chambers,
cool.
Showa Gigan all the way.
Yeah, yeah,
I also just like the green. I think Gigan should be green, not blue.
yeah.
He's kind of a greenish blue. Um, but yeah, I really like that. And let's see. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, here's a funny story. So they built that Anguirus suit because Anguirus, of course, gets his fucking face chopped off in
Oh
Godzilla vs. Gigan.
yeah,
That suit was originally built to show just kind of like how low on money that they were at the time. That suit was built for Destroy All Monsters, right?
yeah,
So they bring it out of retirement. The suit is already starting to rot, and you can
yeah.
really,
It's like all like gross inside. And,
yeah,
like, yeah,
you can really start seeing it in 1972 in Godzilla vs. Gigan. You can see the suit rotting because of the water sequences. Clearly, those were shot last, but
yeah.
you can see just how rotting the suit is. And then when they bring it back one more time in Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, the inside was all slimy and
Yeah,
everything like
yeah.
that. Like the framing of it started collapsing on the guy. But
Ugh,
again, that shows you just how little money they had.
yeah.
They didn't have time or the money to make a new suit, which is kind of funny because they had time and money to make King Caesar. But Leslie Chambers, Kaiju Reviews. Godzilla vs. Gigan is very noteworthy. Aside from the first time Godzilla bleeds, the last performance of Haruo Nakajima was in Godzilla vs. Gigan. Gigan's debut, King Ghidorah's last appearance in the Showa Godzilla films, which that's another poor thing. You can really see the low budget coming out on that. The way how Ghidorah moves when he's not in stock footage in Godzilla vs. Gigan, he's so much more stiff, and that's because they only had half of the crew that they usually did, making in the wireworks and so on and so forth for King Ghidorah. Also, they had to remake his faces because they got like obliterated in Destroy All Monsters. So it's hard to believe that that's the same suit that was built all the way back in 1964 for the original film.